Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ripanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Gaur. Dandavat Pranam all Vaishnavas.
Dandavat Pranam.
So today we started on time, well within the 5 o'clock minute. And so that's... Yes.
She's not there yet.
And later on we will do birthday blessings for Bhanumati. Where is she from? Well, now she's from Connecticut, but she was from Holland, and before that from Oregon. So we'll do that later. Okay. Dandavat Pranam al Vaishnavas. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 of this transcendental treasure trove, Shri Gauriya Giti Guccha. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Just now coming, Jiva Pavana Prabhu, Jaldi Karo. Jiva Pavana Prabhu has posted it. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Make sure you say Guru, not Guru. Srila Prabhupada, he said, I appreciate your sentiment, but it's not always nice when the disciple is calling their Guru Guru, which means cow. So Vandeham Shri Guru. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupa Sagrajata Sahagano Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagano Lalita Shri Vishakhanditangsha Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Nārāyaṇam Tvam Shirasam Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Padam Jidataika Hriddi Chaitanya Leela Vrita Sarasara Nārāyaṇam Tvam सततं प्रपद्ये नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय गौरप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्री श्रीमद् भक्तिप्रज्ञा केशव इति नामिने अतिमर्त्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानंशपालिने जीवन्मुखे सदरताय श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिकाय कृपाभये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वलप्रेमध्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदान श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोऽस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये विनतारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदं पूजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिय वैष्णवः सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदत्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पङ्गो मम मन्दं मतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदं भोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदो श्रीभद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीनमोनन्ददेव प्रेष्ठानिधि सेव्यमानुस्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवत ततस्थितः कार्षन्वेणुस्वनर्गो गोपीनाथ श्रीयस्तु नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta-shaktikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahādavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kailava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Shvaranam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nama Harer Nama Harer Nameva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyaka Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandava Pranama Vaishnavas. We forgot to update the software on the phone again, so there is a chance that it will try to cut out at a certain point. So please bear with us. Okay. Gurudev Kabe Mor Se Dina Have, page 34. Once again, if you do not have the Gauriya Gita Gucha, just scroll to the most recent post of Jiva Pavana Prabhu, and there you will find the bhajan, along with translations and frequently with commentaries of our acharyas. Kabe moro se dino have Gurudev. Kabe moro se dino have Manosthira kori nirjane boshiya Manosthira kori Nirjane Bashiya Krishna Shive Teharo Gadure Rove Krishna Namo Gabo গাহিতে গাহিতে নয়নে বহিবে লোর হরে কৃষ্ণ বলি গাহিতে গাহিতে নয়নে বহিবে লোর দেহেতে পুলক উদিত হইবে দেহেতে পুলক উদিত হইবে প্রেমেতে করিবে ভোর নয়নে বহিবে লোর দেহেতে পুলক উদিত হইবে প্রেমেতে করিবে ভোর নয়নে বহিবে লোর কবে মোর সে দিন হবে কবে মোর সে দিন হবে গদ গদ বাণী মুখে বাহিরিবে কাঁপিবে শরীর গদ গদ বাণী মুখে বাহিরিবে কাঁপিবে শরীর ধর্ম মুহুর্মুহু বিবর্ণ হইবে ধর্ম মুহুর্মুহু বিবর্ণ হইবে স্তম্ভিত প্রলয় সম কাঁপিবে শরীর ধর্ম মুহুর্মুহু বিবর্ণ হইবে স্তম্ভিত প্রলয় সম কাঁপিবে শরীর কবে মোর সে দিন হবে কবে মোর সে দিন হবে নিষ্কপতে হেনু দশা কবে হবে নিরন্তর নাম গাব নিষ্কপতে হেনু দশা কবে হবে নিরন্তর নাম গাব আবেশে রহিয়া দেহ যাত্রা করি আবেশে রহিয়া দেহ যাত্রা করি তোমার করুণা পাব নিরন্তর নাম গাব আবেশে রহিয়া দেহ যাত্রা করি তোমার করুণা পাব নিরন্তর নাম গাব কবে মোর সে দিন হবে কবে মোর সে দিন হবে গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Parampara, Guru Parampara. Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai. Now we will call out for the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Ebaro Kurunakoro Vaishnava Goshai. Page 44 by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Ebaro Karuna Koro Vaishnava Goshai. Ebaro Karuna Koro Vaishnava Goshai. Patito Hare Vaishnava para Prati janme kori asha Charanero dhuni Prati janme kori asha Charanero dhuni Narotame koro doya Aponaro muni Narotame koro doya Aponaro muni Ebaro koruna koro Vaishnava Gosai Ebaro koruna koro Vaishnava Gosai Patita pavano tuma dine ke hona Patita pavano tuma dine ke hona Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Prabhu Kripa Koro More Doya Koro 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 All Vaishnava Thakurs ki Jai. Because yesterday I said we have missed something very important. We did not sing it on the day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. We are going all the way to page 260, Sri Prabhupada Padmastavakaha by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Śrīdār Gosvāmī Mahārāja, starting with Sujanar Budaradhita Pada Yugam. When you see this particular prayer, it has been written in amazing Sanskrit poetry. The last word of the first line ends in Y, and the first word of the next line begins in Y. And so it works like that. The last word of the second line begins with V. The first word of the third line begins with V. The last line of the third line begins with P. The first line of the fourth line begins with P. Sujanar Budaradhita Pada Yugam Yugadharma Dhurandara Patra Varam Varada Bhayadayak Pujya Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. Radhe Radhe. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. It's very long, so I'll sing it more slowly and then we can all sing it together. And maybe you'll recognize the tune. It's like Madhurāṣṭakam Adharam Madhuram or Navanita the Nindita Kantidaram. So Sujanar Budaradhito Padayugam Yugadharma Durandara Patravaram Varadabhayadayaka Puja Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhu Padapadam Bhajanurjita Sajana Sanghapatim Patitadhika Karunikaikagatim Gativanchitavanchakachintya Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhu Padapadam Atiko Malakanchana Dirghatanu Tanunindita Hemamrinalammadam Madanarbudavandita Chandrapadam Pranamami Sada Prabhu Padapadam Nijase Bhakkataraka Ranjividhum Vidutahitahum Krita Singhavanam Varanagatavalisa Shandapadam Pranamami Sada Prabhu Padapadam Vipuli Krita Vaibhava Gaurabhuvam Bhuvaneshu Vikirtita Gauradayam Dayanīyaganārpita Gaurapadam Pranamami Sada Prabhu Padapadam Chiragorajanashraya Vishwagurum Guru Gaura Kishoraka Dasya Param Paramadrita Bhakti Vinodapadam Pranamami Sada Prabhu Padapadam Raghurupa Sanatana Kirtidharam Dharanitala Jiva Kavim Kavirajanarotama Sakya Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhu Padapadam Kripaya Hari Kirtano Murti Dharam Dharani Bharharaka Gaurajanam Janakadhika Vatsala Snigdha Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhu परिसेव्य padam pranamami sada prabhu padam padam vrishabhanusuta dayitanucharam charanashritareenudharastam mahadadbhuta pavana shakti bhat mahadadbhuta pavana shakti padam pranamami sada prabhu pada 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 padam O Jaya Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai. When you hear this particular bhajan, the meaning of it, it is like the sound form of Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Prabhupada. Just like when we sing Śrī Radha Kripakataksha Stavaraja, Śrīla Gurudev said that by that description the form of Śrīmati Radhika is manifested. In the same way, this was appreciated by Śrīla Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and all of his disciples in all of his temples would sing this daily. His 2 lotus feet are worshipped by an unlimited number of saintly persons, and he is the most competent personality to lead the process of realization for this age, Nam Sankirtan. His adorable lotus feet grant all kinds of benedictions and fearlessness. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. He is the leader of the assembly of saints who are powerful in bhajan. He is most compassionate to the fallen, as he is their sole refuge. His inconceivable feet deceive the cheaters. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Śrīla Prabhupada. His tall golden figure, which is very soft, mocks the pride of a golden lotus. His moon-like feet are worshipped by countless cupids. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Śrīla Prabhupada. He is the pleasing moon for his servitor, stars. And with the excellence of a roaring lion, he removes inimical persons, causing them to flee in fear. Choosing the shelter of his feet, the innocent attain auspiciousness. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Śrīla Prabhupada. He has widely spread the splendor of Sri Gauranga's holy abode. Sri Navadvip Dham. He has specifically or specially glorified Sri Gauranga's mercy throughout the whole world, and he has bestowed Gauranga's holy feet upon those who are the most desperate for mercy. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Srila Prabhupada. He is the eternal refuge and universal guru for the devotees of Sri Gauranga. He is always dedicated to the service of his holy master, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, and he is the abode of utmost honor for the feet of Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Srila Prabhupada. He shares renown with Raghunath Das, Rup and Sanatana Gosvāmīs, and is glorified the world over for emulating the philosophical genius of Srila Jiva Goswami. He shares friendship with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Narottam Das Thakur. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Srila Prabhupada. Out of mercy, he reveals himself as the embodiment of Hari Kirtan. He is an eternal associate of Lord Gauranga, born to remove the great burden of the earth. His nature is even more loving and affectionate than that of a father. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Srila Prabhupada. He is a desire tree of benedictions for his surrendered servants. His patience and benevolence put a tree to shame. This is referring to Trinadapi Suni Chena. One should be more tolerant than a tree. His divine feet are worshipped by the best of those who offer benedictions. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Srila Prabhupada. He is the best amongst Paramahamsas. Paramahamsa means literally supreme swan, but it is the topmost perfected spiritual personalities. He holds the treasure of the ultimate objective of life, Krishna Prem. He accepts the dress of a sannyasi to uplift the fallen souls. His feet are carefully served by the best amongst sannyasis. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Srila Prabhupada. He is a most beloved attendant of the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. I have taken shelter of his feet by keeping their dust on my head. Those feet possess immense and astonishing power to purify. I forever offer pranam unto the feet of Srila Prabhupada. So here Srila Bhakti Rakshak Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam is glorifying Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. This last line, he is a most beloved attendant of the daughter of King Vrishabhanu. This is the nature of all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga. But how he is explaining his tall golden figure and very soft mocks the pride of a golden lotus. Very beautiful glorification of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Oh, Krishna Dasi, welcome back. It has been a long time. I was wondering how you're doing. Yes, we shifted rooms for the time being, due to many reasons. But anyhow, everything is good. Thank you for asking. Now we will call out for the mercy, the grace, the blessings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Another thing that was interesting, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj was glorifying him in terms of his relationship with all of our Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, sharing friendship with Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, and those personalities, Rupa and Raghunath. This is quite an interesting concept, because we can look at all of these personalities in terms of our Guru Varga. That Rupa Goswami came at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Jiva Goswami was his only disciple. And Jiva Goswami never made any official disciples, but had many thousands of Shiksha disciples. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also was there in Vrindavan under the guidance of Raghunath Das Goswami and others. And so you can look at it from that perspective and coming down through parampara. But from another perspective, these divine transcendental personalities are all serving together, Radha and Krishna, in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan as friends. So one should see their transcendental Gurudev on that level. Nikunja yuno ratikeli siddhyai yayali bhir yukti rapekshaniya. Instead of seeing, oh, my Guru is not so high, then one cannot really surrender to that person if you think that they're not on that level. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada established this ideal. First of all, that one should accept a bona fide Gurudev, but then one should see their Gurudev in that topmost level. If you think, he said, if you think that they are like yourself, then there will be no meaning to your surrender. Because if you think they're similarly bound like you are, then how can you surrender to such a person? You must consider that they are liberated, that they are above and beyond the confines, the bindings of the material world. Then you can surrender to them with that acceptance. Our Srila Gurudev in this case, he said, if somehow, although we're following the process, due to our ignorance, we have selected someone who might not be on the level. But because we are following the process, following Shastra, following the teachings of Sadhu and Guru, maybe we make any mistake. Because we've endeavored to follow the process, then Krishna will make arrangement for us to get better and better association so that we can progress. So still, even if we've made some mistake, which is the nature of any conditioned soul, if we are sincere, then somehow or other Krishna will take us from our current situation and give us superior association by which we will progress on the path of devotion. Okay, we're going to sing Yang Kalirupa Sharira Nadharata, page 47, by Sri Madhav Das. Śrī Rupa Gosvāmī Pada Ki Jai. Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata. Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata. Yang Kali Rupa Sharira Nadharata. Yang गाई गवाई सुख पावतो गाई गवाई सुख पावतो चरण कमले शरणागत माधो चरण कमले शरणागत माधो तव महिमा उर लागत तव महिमा उर लागत यं कलिरूप शरीरं धारत यं कलिरूप शरीरं धारत तं व्रज प्रेम महानिधि कुठारिक तं व्रज प्रेम महानिधि कुठारिक कौनकपात उघारत कौनकपात उघारत यं कलिरूप शरीरं धारत 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 जय रूप गोस्वामी प्रभु 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 है 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 श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय श्री सनातन गोस्वामी पाद की जय श्री सद गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय. Now we will call out for the mercy, the grace, the sidelong glance, and maybe the embrace of Śrī Nityananda Prabhu. Śrī Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan. Page 163, or whatever Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts. Nadiya. First we will sing Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Shradhavana jana he Shradhavana jana he Shradhavana jana he Shradhavana jana he Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Prabhuraya gyay bhai magi e bhika Prabhuraya gyay bhai magi e bhika Bolo Krishna bhajo Krishna koro Krishna shiksha Bolo Krishna bhajo Krishna koro Krishna shiksha Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Aparadha shunya hoye loho Krishna naam Aparadha shunya hoye loho Krishna naam Krishna mata Krishna pita Krishna dhano pran Krishna mata Krishna pita Krishna dhano pran Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Krishnera sansar koro chari anachar Krishnera sansar koro chari anachar Jive doya Krishna naam sarva dharma sar Jive doya Krishna naam sarva dharma sar Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Pati ache naam hata jiver karan শ্রদ্ধাবন জন হে, শ্রদ্ধাবন জন হে, শ্রদ্ধাবন জন হে, শ্রদ্ধাবন জন হে, পাতি আছে নাম হত জীবের কারণ, পাতি আছে নাম হত জীবের কারণ। নদিয়া নদিয়া গো দ্রুমে নিত্যানন্দ মহাজন, পাতি আছে নাম হত জীবের কারণ। নদিয়া নদিয়া গো দ্রুমে নিত্যানন্দ মহাজন, পাতি আছে নাম হত জীবের কারণ। নিতাই 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 হে, নিতাই 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 হে, নিতাই 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 হে, নিতাই 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 নিতাই। নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম, নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম, নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম, জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম। নিতাই হে নিতাই হে নিতাই হে, নিতাই হে নিতাই হে, নিতাই হে নিতাই হে নিতাই হে। पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय, प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। Now we will call out for the mercy, grace of Śrī Satyanandana Gaur Hari. Jadi Gauranga Nahito by Śrī Narahari Sarkar, page 68. Śrī Narahari Sarkar was a very intimate associate of Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. যদি গৌরাঙ্গ নহিত তবে কি হইত, কেমনে ধরিত দে। যদি গৌরাঙ্গ নহিত তবে কি হইত, কেমনে ধরিত দে। রাধার মহিমা প্রেম রস সীমা, রাধার মহিমা প্রেম রস সীমা, জগতে জানা তোকে, জগতে জানা তোকে, জগতে জানা তোকে, জগতে জানা তোকে। মধুর বৃন্দা বিপিন মাধুরী, প্রবেশ চাতুরী সারো। মধুর বৃন্দা বিপিন মাধুরী, প্রবেশ চাতুরী সারো। বরজ যুবতী ভাবের ভকতি, বরজ যুবতী ভাবের ভকতি, শকতি হইত কার, শকতি হইত কার। গাও পুন পুন গৌরাঙ্গের গুণ, সরল হইয়া মন। গাও পুন পুন গৌরাঙ্গের গুণ, সরল হইয়া মন। এ ভব সাগরে এমন দয়াল এ ভব সাগরে, এমন দয়াল না দেখি যে কজন, না দেখি যে কজন। এ ভব সাগরে এমন দয়াল না দেখি যে কজন, না দেখি যে কজন। গৌরাঙ্গ বলিয়া নাগেনু বলিয়া কেমনে ধরিনু দে। গৌরাঙ্গ বলিয়া নাগেনু বলিয়া কেমনে ধরিনু দে। নরহরি হিয়া পাষাণ দিয়া, নরহরি হিয়া পাষাণ দিয়া কেমনে গড়িয়াছে, ও কেমনে গড়িয়াছে, কেমনে গড়িয়াছে, কেমনে গড়িয়াছে। ও গৌরাঙ্গ নহিত তবে কি হইত, কেমনে ধরিত রে। ও যদি গৌরাঙ্গ নহিত তবে কি হইত, কেমনে ধরিত রে। জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি, জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি, জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি, জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি। গৌর হে গৌর হে গৌর হে গৌর হে, ও গৌর হে গৌর হে গৌর হে गौर हे। प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम शचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। Dandava Pranama Vaishnavas. Looks like Pure Cow Seva is on their way. Jai. Jaya Jaya Ballava Rajakumar by Śrīla Gosvāmī. Page 345. Jaya Jaya Ballava Rajakumar. जय जय बल्लभ राजकुमार, जय जय बल्लभ राजकुमार। राधा बक्षसि हरिमनिहारो, राधा बक्षसि हरिमनिहारो। राधा बक्षसि हरिमनिहारो, राधा बक्षसि हरिमनिहारो। जय जय बल्लभ राजकुमार, Bhushrinna ghana saro apaghana ghatito Bhushrinna ghana saro apaghana ghatito Bhushrinna ghana saro apaghana ghatito Bhushrinna ghana saro Tinchakachita kunchita kachabharo Tinchakachita kunchita kachabharo Jaya Jaya Vallabha Rajakumar Jaya Jaya Vallabha Rajakumar Radhadriti Haro Muralitaro Radhadriti Haro Muralitaro Radhadriti Haro Muralitaro Radhadriti Haro Muralitaro Nayananchana krito madana vikaro Nayananchana krito madana vikaro Jaya Jaya Vallabha Rajakumar Jaya Jaya Vallabha Rajakumar Rasaranjita Radha Parivaro Rasaranjita Radha Parivaro Rasaranjita Radha Parivaro Rasaranjita Radha Parivaro Kalita Sanatano Chitta Viharo Kalita Sanatano Chitta Viharo Jaya Jaya Vallabha Rajakumar 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 Krishna He 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 Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai Kalayati Nayanam Dishi Dishi Valitam
Devaki's favorite.
Devaki's favorite. You know that one, right? No. Oh. Anupji.
Funny? No.
Shri Rai Ramananda. Oh. Wi-Fi network is not currently working. Oh, look, it's Anup and Sudevi.
What do you mean it's not working?
No, the Wi-Fi cut off
Oh.
temporarily. It's okay. That's pure cow seva, TJ. I have not seen her yet. I was doing a little bit of drilling today, Anjali, so I got a little bit of dust in my sinuses. But I'm okay. Okay. Kalayati nayanam dishi balitam pankajamiva mridu maruta chalitam. Page 342 by Sri Rai Ramananda. They say that anything that you practice enough, it's like riding a bike. You can just pick it right up again. But I find that my harmonium playing is, how do you say? I'm a little rusty with it. Vishabhananandani Shrimati Radharani ki jai. Kalayati nayanam dishi dishi valitam pankajamiva mridu maruta chalitam. Kalayati nayanam dishi dishi valitam pankajamiva mridu maruta chalitam. Heli vipinam pravishati Pratipada samuditam manasi jabadha. Pratipada dhire dhire. Kalayati nayanam dishi dishi valitam pankajamiva mridu maruta chalitam. Kalayati nayanam pankajamiva mridu Nidadhati mridu mantarapadam. Nidadhati mridu mantarapadam. Rachayati kunjara gatimavadam. Rachayati kunjara kalayati nayanam dishi dishi valitam pankajamiva mridu maruta chalitam. Kalayati nayanam dishi dishi valitam pankajamiva mridu janayati rudra gajadhipamudekam. Deshi deshi varitam pankajamiva vritam maruta charitam kalayati nayanam Deshi deshi varitam pankajamiva vritam maruta charitam kalayati nayanam Deshi deshi varitam pankajamiva vritam maruta charitam kalayati nayanam Deshi deshi varitam pankajamiva vritam maruta charitam Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Oh Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Vrishabhanandani Śrīmati Radharani ki jai Radhe Radhe Dandava Pranam Taruni Krishna Kripa Radhe Radhe Krishna Kripa is watching. You gotta play really expert. Ramananda was like the governor. He was in a high position as an advisor also to King Prataprudra. And so Ramananda was extremely knowledgeable, extremely learned. He also was a dance teacher. So he was teaching the devotees how to dance for Jagannath. He was expert in many arts, and of course, because he is a direct manifestation of Vishaka Sakhi, he's expert in all arts. So Sri Ramananda would sing these different bhajans. Mahārāja Prataprudra was also a pure devotee of the Lord. Originally, when he went to go see, or when he wanted to see Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu would not see him because he was in kingly garments. And sannyasis are not supposed to meet with sense enjoyers or kingly personalities, according to sannyas rules. But King Prataprudra, he came to Mahaprabhu dressed in very simple cloth, in a very humble way. And then Mahaprabhu would speak with him, would see him, and would interact with him. So this Mahārāja Prataprudra and Ramananda were very, very close. And Ramananda, apparently here, is singing this. May these words spoken by poet Ramananda Rai bring happiness to Gajapati Mahārāja Prataprudra. These are very high transcendental moods. And so if Ramananda is hoping to please Mahārāja Prataprudra by these words glorifying the sweetness of Srimati Radhika, then you can understand that their internal moods are very, very high. That Mahārāja Prataprudra is someone that Ramananda also greatly respects. But to give this kind of glorification of Srimati Radhika to Mahārāja Prataprudra, this is something revealing within their relationship. What kind of Harikatha were they sharing amongst each other, that they were speaking so sweetly about the beautiful, what is it? Soft, gentle movements of Srimati Radhika. So now we will call out Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Hare Ram, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swāminiti Namine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate giring. Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupar Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupar Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, and to our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. Sudevi's in a mad rush making Gaur Purnima.
Chandrika, she gave the outfit for Gaur Purnima, so it has to be finished.
But Sudevi's like, it needs to be extra splendid. So I don't know how you can do it, but every time it's more extra splendid. So she's working on that Gaur Purnima outfit.
Chandrika, it's hers. She
I think she heard you. Chandrika, this is the one that you have offered for them. So she's working on it now. And it's a win-win-win situation. Sudevi loves to take care of Thakurji and sew for them. Chandrika is getting the benefit of giving to them, and they're also going to wear it. So it's winning all around. So today I wanted to continue speaking something on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, based on his pranam mantras and also on his Upadeshavali, and also something of our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and of course, as always, so many times quotes from our Srila Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj manifest, and Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, and Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. We have I hope I say the word properly, a plethora of transcendental personalities to receive transcendental knowledge from, to imbibe and also to share. So Jiva Pavana Prabhu doesn't know. I don't know what that's about. Okay. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, our Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj would always speak on this when it came to his appearance or disappearance. It's not always the most appropriate, let's say, to focus on the pranam mantras of any personality. But specifically for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, our Gurudev would focus on the pranam mantras when he would speak on him. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshavanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Nama Madhur Yojvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dhvanta Harine. So there's a lot of coded transcendental glorification injected within those mantras, within those prayers. And so I wanted to focus on that and then on his Upadeshavali. I'm just making sure that we still have proper connection. So our Srila Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj would give some extra emphasis to the Shri Varshavanavi Devi Daita. Who is Daita? It means the most beloved. So the most beloved or the most dear to Well, the Das is here. This is the name that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada received from Srila Gaurkishora Das Babaji Maharaj. Before that time, his name was Bimal Prasad. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had petitioned profusely on his behalf for him to manifest, on behalf of the fallen condition of the world, in order to bring about a change in this world, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was calling, like Advaita Acharya was calling for the Supreme Lord to manifest himself. Bhaktivinoda Thakur made that same analogy. As Advaita Acharya was calling, I was also calling for a transcendentally empowered personality to manifest in this world. He was praying to the consort of Sri Jagannath Dev, Bimala Devi. And when that child was born, Bhaktivinoda Thakur knew this child is the mercy of Bimala, Bimala Prasad. In fact, in the scriptures, I can't remember exactly where, but there it is said that at this time in Puri, a very powerful transcendental person would make his appearance, and that we understand to be Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So his Guru Diksha name given by Srila Gaurkishora Das Babaji Maharaj was Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daita Das, the servant of that person who is the beloved of the daughter of Shri Vrishabhanu Maharaj, that is Srimati Radhika. So generally we think, yes, this means he's the servant of Krishna. Like we say, Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur Das Das Anudas. My only identity is that I am the servant of the servant of the servant of that personality who is the beloved of the gopis. That is Krishna. But in this case, our Srila Gurudev extracted a very intimate, very personalized, very deep, special meaning. Varshabhanavi Devi Daita. Who else is dear to Sri Varshabhanavi Devi? Srimati Radhika? Sri Rupa. So who is dear? Who is the object of affection of Sri Rupa? That is also Varshabhanavi Devi Daita. So yes, the servant of Krishna, the beloved of Srimati Radhika, but also the servant of Sri Rupa. Madhuryojvala Premadhya. Madhurya Ujvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida. Now this is interesting because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was very, very strong, and he spent so much energy cutting so many apasiddhantas, all kinds of opposite conclusions from what was revealed in Shastra, all of the Sahajya, all of the Mayavad, all of the nonsense that was being promoted in the name of Shastra. He spent so much time cutting that. But also he was giving something. And even if one does not give it directly, it might even be more sweet. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja would say this, that if you just do something directly, it's not as sweet. At least in Vedic culture. In Western culture, Valentine's Day comes, you give a box of chocolates and roses like everyone else, and maybe a card, and you say, I love you. Srila Gurudev said, it ruins everything when you say, I love you. Rather, you do everything in such a way that that person understands and feels it. How much more sweet is it? You don't call the name of your beloved directly, but you call him any nickname, any sweet name. In America, they have honey, sweetheart, pumpkin, so many different names like that. What do they have here in India? What do you call, you don't call her directly her name. So what do you call her? Like, any priyanam? Sweetie, anything like that.
Janu.
Sanam, Janu. So there are something else, there's ways around it. But if you just directly say something, it's not as sweet. So when we're glorifying Krishna, you can say Adharam Madhuram, Vadanam Madhuram, Nayanam Madhuram, Hasitam Madhuram, Hridayam Madhuram, Gamanam Madhuram, Madhuradipater Akilam Madhuram. You don't hear the name of Krishna anywhere in there. But it starts with Adharam Madhuram. His lips are sweet. His eyes are sweet. His face is sweet. Everything is sweet. What is it? Adharam Badanam. His speech is sweet. Nayanam. His gait, his walking is sweet. Everything is sweet. The whole Ashtakam is speaking about this personality without directly saying his name. But through that medium, you're getting a very well-rounded idea or picture of who you're referring to. How much more sweet is that, Srila Gurudev would say. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, of course, he wanted to directly give this Rupanuga Bhakti. But we know that he gave it in a covered way. Because at that time, there were so many persons who, in the name of Rupa Goswami and in the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were doing so many nefarious activities. Nefarious, do you know what that means? All kinds of nonsense activities, claiming that this is the teachings of Rupa Goswami, the teachings of our Guru Varga, the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And people were following that. The Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada would cut all of that, but also he was giving Shri Rupanuga Bhakti. And we have previously discussed what is Rupanuga Bhakti. In general, people will say, well, anyone who is following any part of the teachings of Rupa Goswami, you can read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and if you subscribe to the words or the works of Rupa Goswami, then you can call yourself Rupanuga. But our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja did not accept this. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to give four different rasas, chari ras. So all of his associates were there, and they had already descended with him, and they were of so many different rasas, Sakya, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. And so he came to awaken this. But that wasn't his only intention. He also was experiencing the moods and the bhavs of Srimati Radhika. Radha bhava dyuti suvalitam nomi Krishna surupam. We were speaking about this yesterday. So because he is experiencing this, he also wants to share something of that mood that he is tasting. But her moods of Srimati Radhika, are exclusive to her. No other personality can fully experience every mood of Srimati Radhika. We will go into depth in this on Gaur Purnima Day. So, through Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to give to this world what he wanted to give. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. And Rupa Goswami himself penned the verse describing what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically wanted to give to this world. And you can read about it in Pinnacle of Devotion on the section of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There our Srila Gurudev has very lucidly given these details. So in that verse, Rupa Goswami is saying, Anarpitat charing chirat karunayavatirnakalo samarpayitum unato jvala rasang svabhakti shriyam. Unata ujvala rasa means that highest rasa that Srimati Radhika has, her love and affection for Krishna. And svabhakti shriyam refers to the beauty of that, or the semblance of that, or the reflection of that, or the fragrance of that. So you can have a substance and then you have the fragrance manifesting from that. And so the beauty of that, or the shriyam, that is the mood of those who are like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Gosvāmī, Raghunath Das Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, Lokanath Goswami, Jiva Goswami, all of our Goswamis, all of our Guru Varga, our Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, all of our Guru Varga, our Gurudev, all of them, they have this same kind of mood of loving service to Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. That our Srila Gurudev very clearly established is Rupanuga. To follow in the wake of that kind of serving mood to Radha and Krishna. And this is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada wanted to give to this world, and what he was giving. How did all of his disciples manifest these moods? From him. So Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida, in the highest Madhurya Ujvala Premadhya. Then it says Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti. What is Karuna?
Mercy.
Mercy. What is Shakti? Power, potency. Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigraha. He is the form of the potency, of the mercy of Shri Shachinandan Gaurahari. Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigraha. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada came for the same reason that all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga have come. And it's said in the next verse, Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye. What is Gauravani? Our Srila Gurudev did not want any general random answer when he would ask, what is Gauravani? He wanted a specific verse quoted. And that verse, he said, is by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And here it says, Namaste Gauravani Shri Murti. Means he is the form. He is the embodiment of the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gauravani. What teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically? I'll give you a... No. I will give you a hint. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. Whoever gets the first line or the first word of this verse will get a 10-course thali prepared by Sudevi and Anup. Pure cow seva, the very, very expert chefs they are. Okay, I'm waiting. Nope. I'm waiting for the specific verse. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. So I'll give you the last line in Sanskrit. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur matamidam tatradaro napparaha. That's the meaning. This is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. It's basically the shortened version of Dashamula Tattva, or by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. It's the shortened version, but this is by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. 10-course thali. Whoa! Krishna Kripa, of course. Haribo, Krishna Kripa. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajabadhu Vargenaya Kalpita Śrīmad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumurto Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradaro Napparaha. The last line says, this is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. So here it's saying that obeisances to that person who is the form, the essence, the form of the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is it? Aradhyo Bhagavan. The supreme, topmost, worshipful form of Bhagavan is, of God, is Brajesh Tanai. Who is Brajesh Tanai? Yes, who's Brajesh?
Who give the pleasure of Braj. Brajvasis.
Who is Braja Isha?
Krishna.
Huh? The Ish of Braj. Isha means controller or master. So you can say, what is Tanai? Sanskrit. The dearmost of the master of Braj. So who is the king of Vrindavan? Nanda Maharaj. Brajesh. Brajendra. Brajendra Nandan Shyama Sundar. Advai Gyan Tattva Brajendra Nandan Shyama Sundar. The supreme non-dual absolute truth is the son of Nanda Maharaj Krishna in Vrindavan. But our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj gave another meaning of this Brajesh. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Ishwari. Who is the queen, or who is the Isha of Vrindavan? That is Srimati Radhika. Who is the dearmost of Srimati Radhika? That is the topmost worshipful form of Krishna. Nanda Mahārāja's Krishna is not exactly the same as Srimati Radhika's Krishna. Nanda Mahārāja can never see what Srimati Radhika sees. And he cannot also control Krishna the same way that Srimati Radhika does. Only she sees that most splendid, amazing form. Shyamam tribhanga lalitam niyata prakasham. Only she will see that most beautiful form in reciprocation with her selfless love and affection. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas. Because this supreme, absolute, transcendental, beautiful form is manifested in Vrindavan, then the topmost worshipful place is Tadham Vrindavanam. And because the gopis have fully surrendered their hearts, their soul, and everything to Krishna, so much so that Krishna says at the time of Rasalila, Naparayeham Nirabadya Samyujam, I have no capacity to repay you for your love and affection. Your love is the greatest thing I know. I cannot repay you even in a lifetime of Brahma. Let your love be its own repayment, because I don't know anything greater. Because of their ekantik, ekanishta, one-pointed love and affection for Krishna, his mood is bahunishta. Gurudev said he cannot neglect even one jiva, but each one of those gopis is a manifestation of Radhika's prema for Krishna, and they are exclusively dedicated to him alone. Therefore, he has no capacity to repay that love and affection. When you become indebted to someone, then you become subservient to them. Therefore, Krishna said, I cannot repay you. For everyone else, he says, Ye yata mam prapadyante tangstataiva bhajamyaham. As you approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. I guess I should do this. But anyhow, he says it like this. But for the gopis, he didn't say that. He couldn't say that. He just said, I cannot repay you for your love and affection. So the opinion of Mahaprabhu is, Ramya Kachit Upasana, the topmost, greatest form of service to Krishna, the Upasan, is found only in the Braja Gopis. Vraja Badhu, what does that mean? Badhu means the young married women. Badhu means wife of Vrindavan. This means Parakiya Bhav. Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajabadhu Vargenaya Kalpita. That is the topmost upasana by which Krishna is fully controlled. The mood of loving service that the gopis render to Krishna. What is the proof of this? That is giving the evidence, because evidence is always required. And because of that, what gives the evidence is considered the greatest scripture, the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. What is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature? Woo! They got it. Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shukamakad amrita dravasamitam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam. Rasamalai. Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. It is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature, and within Śrīmad Bhagavatam, you get all of that evidence. Pramanam amalam. It is the... We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She said, isn't Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita more ripe? Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja explained, and I remember him telling it on a morning walk near Kassel in Germany, that without Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, you cannot understand Śrīmad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. You won't have the outline to be able to understand it properly. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is required. Previous to that, I had always understood that first Bhagavad Gita, then Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and the postgraduate study is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. But if you see Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, how Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami has laid it out. The first chapter is all of the essential verses. And then the next chapter is the first verse of that chapter. And then the following one is the second verse of the first chapter. So it's like an outline, and he tells us how to see Krishna in Vrindavan, how to see Krishna in Dwarka, how to understand the avatars, how to properly understand and see everything. Without that, we can actually very easily become lost. So yes, in a sense, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita can be considered more mature. But when this verse was made, actually, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is speaking about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Matamidam. So if that was the opinion of Mahaprabhu, then Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita had not been physically manifested yet. And even then, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is still referencing Śrīmad Bhagavatam as the topmost scripture. So Sri Chaitanya, Śrīmad Bhagavatam pramanam amalam. Praman means evidence. Amala means spotless or pure. Amal means without any impurity. Therefore, it means pure. Just like Amrit. Amrit means nectar, but literally it means without death, or the opposite of death. Amrit. Mrit means death, right? So, Amala. Amal means completely pure. This is Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Nothing to discard. Our Guru Varga have explained it to be like a ripened mango with no skin, no seed, just sweet and juicy through and through. Every part to take, nothing to discard. And what is the topmost goal? Prema Pumarto Mahan. Krishna Prem is the topmost goal. To attain loving service of Krishna. Not just to attain Krishna. As we said the other day, Asura Sakal Pailo Charana. Even the demons are attaining the lotus feet of the Lord. But they merge into the lotus feet of the Lord and in essence merge. Kind of. You can't really ever merge, but it doesn't mean that they are serving. The nature of the jiva is to serve. So one cannot find satisfaction by remaining within the state of or within the feeling of ceasing to exist, as we spoke about yesterday. Whether you're in the light or in the dark, if you're not serving, then you will not really find your true satisfaction, because the nature of the soul is Krishner Nitya Das, to eternally serve Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatradaro Napparha. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. When you hear this term Gauravani, this is what Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja wants you to say. It's also in our Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine. So here it is saying Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is the form of Gauravani. And what is Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada doing? He's preaching Gauravani, Gauravani Pracharine. In other words, what is he giving to the world? Bhakti Siddhanta. He's giving the teachings, the essence of his Gurudev to the world. That is the meaning of a real qualified disciple. What I have received from my Gurudev, from my Guru Parampara, I am sharing. He would always say this. He's very, very merciful to the fallen. And Rupanuga Viruddha. The best of Rupanuga Vaishnavas. So, when you hear this term, Rupanuga Viruddha, best of Rupanugas, and you don't necessarily see that he is doing what you would think a Rupanuga should be doing. He's out there preaching really strongly against Mayavadism, against Voidism. That's part of the next part, Apasiddhanta Dvanta, against all kinds of Apasiddhanta, or conclusions which are against Shastra. So it's interesting that they put Rupanuga Viruddha with Apasiddhanta Dvanta. He is cutting all kinds of nonsense to establish this Rupanuga. Rupanuga. What is Rupanuga? We already spoke about. It is to follow under the guidance in the Upasan, in the way that Srila Rupa Goswami served within his sadhak form, within this form in this world that we could see at the time of Mahaprabhu, Seva Sadhaka Rupena, and also internally following siddha rupena chatrahi. As he is serving in a different form, Shri Rupa Manjari, Shri Radha and Krishna. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada would establish this point that the dust from the lotus feet of Shri Rupa, that is our only goal, our hope, our aspiration. And we spoke about that the other day. So now I want to go to his Upadeshavali. Wow. The Upadeshavali is basically the essence of his teachings, as has been captured by his disciples, and together they have presented it. Sometimes any Gurudev will write it themselves. There are certain things, like our Srila Gurudev also wrote his own, the essence of what he wanted to give in very concise form. So here, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, they have the first one. It's not that he sat down necessarily and wrote it like this. It may be, but I don't know. It's in a sutra form, condensed, coded forms of all of his teachings. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is the Sri Gaudiya Mat's sole object of worship. That means supreme victory to the congregational chanting of Krishna's names. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So he was giving the same thing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving. This is from the first verse of Śrī Satyavrata. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreyakairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamritashvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So he's giving focus here. By the process of Harinam, everything will be accomplished. And now he's going into Krishna Tattva. Shri Krishna, who is the Vishai Vigraha, means the supreme enjoyer or the object of our worship, our love and affection. He's the sole enjoyer, and all others are to be enjoyed by him. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ar Sababhritya. There's only one controller, one supreme enjoyer, that is Krishna. All others are his servants. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada put a lot of emphasis on this point. If anyone, especially his disciples, were seen to be going toward the way of material enjoyment, he would heavily chastise them that we are not here for this purpose. Some devotees were criticizing our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, at that time Bino Bihari Brahmachari. Why? Because he would go to the boatmen, and whatever was in his pocket, when he would take the boat, he would just hand it to them. And some of the devotees were criticizing, like, we worked so hard to collect this money, and he just spends it recklessly. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said to these disciples, how much did you spend previously when you were at home? And they said something like 10 paisa. At that time it was different. The value of the currency was very different. When I arrived in Vrindavan in 1984, 84, it was 7 rupees to the dollar. Now it's 72 or 73.
100 paisa is equal to 1 rupees.
100 paisa is equal to 1 rupee. Back in the day of the time of King George, they had a silver coin. That was the currency here, silver rupee. So the economy has changed since then. So 10 paisa, he said. And how much are you spending now? Oh, about 1 rupee. And he said, so you're spending 10 times more now than you were when you were at home. But Vinod Bihari used to spend hundreds of rupees daily, and now he's only spending 5. So who is more renounced? Yeah, I told. So he was giving extra. Little did those other ones understand or realize that he was creating alliances. If any difficulty were to come, which it did happen during the parikrama when they were throwing stones and they wanted to kill Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada for preaching very strongly the conceptions of Mahaprabhu in the face of all kinds of sahajas and apa-sampradayas, then Srila Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, at that time Bino Bihari Brahmachari, had everything in place to be able to save his Gurudev and channel him back to Mayapur, to safety. So by this kind of connectedness, he was able to manage so much. In fact, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada many times wanted to give him sannyas, but many of the devotees would beg Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, please don't. If you give him sannyas, then he cannot stay here. He'll have to travel and preach everywhere. Who will manage the mutts? He's taking care of everything so perfectly. If he's not doing it, everything might fall apart. So then it was delayed and delayed like this. So our Param Gurudev received sannyas many years later. He received it from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada within his dream. He received the name and sannyas and everything. So this was known about, and he had actually told Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj this fact. And Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj gave him the name that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada gave him in his vision, in his dream. This is Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. So, Krishna is the sole enjoyer and all others are to be enjoyed by him. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada put a lot of emphasis on this, and he didn't want the devotees to enjoy. One thing that we learned very, very young, they used to tell us that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada would ask, what Mahaprasad did the devotees take? Which one did this devotee go for? What did he go for? Was he going for the rasagulas? Was he going for the bitter melon? Which kind of food were they taking? And of his remnants or the Mahaprasad? His own remnants. He wanted to know who was picking this and that for their own enjoyment. Because it is in the nature of sadhus, it is the function of Guru to cut our self-enjoying tendency and turn our enjoyment tendency, instead of toward ourselves, toward the transcendental enjoyment of Krishna, to serve his transcendental senses. Who? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada would never add anything like chili or salt or anything to his prasadam. Once it had been offered, he would accept it as it came to him. So what we had heard when we were young was quite shocking. That he used to order, when people were selecting and picking for their own enjoyment, mix it all together. So that they don't look at Mahaprasad that, oh, this is for my enjoyment. Mahaprasad is Krishna in the form of mercy, which looks like food. Not meant for our enjoyment, but it is meant for our spiritual nourishment. And if we're looking at it for my enjoyment, then we will not get the same benefit. So we heard that he used to arrange for it to be mixed together so that you wouldn't choose the rasgulla versus the dal. Now, I never liked the idea of a rasgulla in dal, but anyhow, we heard that for the benefit of those devotees to not have this enjoying tendency, he wanted to dovetail everything toward the transcendental service of Krishna. That's why in one of his last statements he said, I will not leave anything for you, so that you will become lazy and think yourself the enjoyer instead of serving the transcendental senses of Krishna. If you have that mood that I am the enjoyer, then you are not fit to be a chanter of the kirtan of Hari. You are not fit to preach the holy name or even chant it properly. So, if one is looking at Krishna from the perspective of I'm going to enjoy Krishna, there's something wrong with that process. Or the Shakti of Krishna, like Ravan. He didn't want to serve Ram, he wanted to take the Shakti of Ram and use it for his own enjoyment. So if we're taking anything for our own enjoyment, because everything is the property of Krishna, it's all a manifestation of the potency, the energy of Krishna. And if we're not utilizing it in the service of Krishna, then our Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupada says this is Ravan mentality. So it's something to think about. Check our pulses and see Do I have this tendency? Oh, that means there's some demon in me. After all, I require help, I require mercy. Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu must come. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he said that the duty of the sadhu is to stand at the sacrificial altar with the upraised sword. And our enjoying tendencies are like so many of these sacrificial goats. Now this is an appropriate reference, especially at that time in Bengal. So many are worshippers of Chandi, Kali. And they would sacrifice goats there. Even in Navadvip, at Paramatala, there's a temple of Kali there, and they would sacrifice goats to the goddess Kali. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada would use these very strong examples, which were quite clear in the minds and in the vision of those who were listening to him. He said, the function of the sadhu is to stand at that sacrificial altar with the upraised sword, to sever the heads of all of these sacrificial goats, means our anarthas, our self-serving, selfish tendencies. How? In the form of strong language, heavy, harsh language. Most of us think, if someone tells me something sweet and gentle, then I will follow. But our experience is not such. Most people don't actually really follow if someone's like, oh, will you please do this? And nothing. We're pretty dense. It's very difficult to move someone from their inclination toward nonsense, toward Maya, to shift them. Srila Gaura Govinda Mahārāja explained, you cannot imagine how much endeavor goes to turn someone from Maya toward Krishna. If even one person shifts their consciousness and actually goes toward Krishna, all the demigods, everyone is showering flowers going, oh my God, they did it. One has actually made it. Jai Boli Hari. Right? One has changed. It's not an easy task to shift one person from Maya to Krishna. And without that very strong discipline, without that wake up, without that shock, without the heavy or harsh words of Gurudev, we might not actually be shifted. And we can all look at ourselves, feel our own pulses, and really examine. Even if I'm chanting my 16 rounds every day and doing my artis and everything, am I really endeavoring to enter into the path of bhajan? Am I really following my Gurudev? Am I really following the words of Guru Sadhu and Shastra? Or am I also allotting so much time for my nonsense? And even if others don't know, I know. We all know ourselves. Am I really entering into bhajan? Am I following properly? I require something strong, something powerful. Like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, when his Gurudev, Srila Gaurkishoras Babaji Maharaj, refused him again and again and again for initiation. He told him, you're too beautiful, you're too educated, you're too intelligent, oh, you're so learned, you're too wealthy. Nope, you're not a right candidate. Rejection, 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 rejection. Again and again and again. But Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur had instructed Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you must take initiation from him. So he had the order of one guru to accept the other guru. So he was stuck. He had to accept him, but he was not accepting him back. Let me ask Mahaprabhu. Oh, I forgot to ask Mahaprabhu. Let me ask him. Mahaprabhu said no. Like this. Until Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was weeping, that time Bhima, weeping and weeping at the feet of Srila Gaurkishoras Babaji Maharaj. Karuna na hoile kandiya kandiya prana na rakibo. Without your mercy, I have no reason to maintain my life.
Mahaprabhu didn't say no, he just didn't answer.
No, Srila Gaurkishoras Babaji Maharaj told, he said,
He didn't say no.
I read it in one lecture recently that Mahaprabhu said no.
Alright.
Or that he said that Mahaprabhu said no.
Okay, alright.
He said no.
I
What did Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj then tell him to do? Everything, all of your knowledge, all of your learning, everything that you think is so amazing and great, everything that you have put value into, all of it, take it and throw it in the ocean and then come back. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was shocked. My God, everything. He said it was a shock to him. A shock. Everything that he had valued, all of his knowledge, all of that thing which everyone was glorifying him for, all of that esteem, throw it in the ocean and come back as a blank slate. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, I then resolved that either he's a fake or he's the real deal. So he said, I had no other recourse than to take shelter of Krishna and pray. And really this is our process, to pray for reconciliation and understanding. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada prayed fervently to Krishna for reconciliation and understanding. And by the mercy of Krishna, he came to the understanding that Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj was more than the real deal. And then he said, after that, I realized that a powerful shock was required to change me. And unless others are similarly shocked, they can also not be changed. What did Krishna do to Arjuna? He said, for one who has known honor, dishonor is worse than death. How has this weakness come upon you? So first he's saying that you've become so weak. Arjuna is one of the greatest kshatriyas in the world. The best archer in the world. One of the best fighters. And Krishna is basically heavily chastising him, belittling him. How has this weakness come upon you? You have earned honor. This is dishonorable. This is worse than death. Krishna was giving heavy punishment to the mind of Arjuna. So this is required. Our Gurudev had to be so gentle with us because we couldn't handle it. But if we could handle it, he would give it very strong. We've heard from Pujapad Bhaktivedānta Van Maharaj, Pujapad Bhaktivedānta Mara Maharaj, Pujapad Bhaktivedānta Tirth Maharaj, Pujapad, all of those who are with our Gurudev for years and years, they said just hearing his name, they would start shaking. Nārāyaṇa Maharaj is coming. Boom, they would start doing some seva, anything. Because Gurudev was strong with them. He was heavy. Why? To cut anything out which needed to be cut out in order to instill this pure Rupanuga Bhakti. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, the sadhu is one who stands at that sacrificial altar with the upraised sword to sever the heads of those anarthas in the form of harsh language. It's the shock that is required. Like Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj said to one devotee, you are so dense, you require the thunderbolt of Indra to wake you up. And even if you are hit many times with the thunderbolt of Indra, still, lightning, right? Still it won't break through, you are so dense. This kind of thing is required. Sometimes devotees would reveal to him in private, to Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj, I have this anartha, that anartha. And publicly he would say, oh, you like to watch pornography in front of everyone, ripping that anartha out of their heart, just like that. It seems a little harsh, but we should understand that it is actually the greatest love, the greatest mercy. Our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, I told the other day, if any of his disciples would go and associate at that place where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was offended, our Param Gurudev would say, why have you gone there? Now you are polluted. And he would make them do a 3-day fast before they could re-enter the temple with panchagavya. I told the other day. Milk, yogurt, ghee, cow urine, cow dung. 3 days fast before they could re-enter. Srila Govinda Maharaj also gave heavy chastisement like this. It is required. We think I can handle this. I can do it on my own with just a little sweet, gentle coaxing. But actually, more is required than that. What is our hope? What is our aspiration? We want to enter into the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How heavy was he with Jyota Haridas? So heavy. I will never see him again. Because he was behaving inappropriately in a high position within society. As a sannyasi, doing what was inappropriate. Mahaprabhu said, I will never see him again. The only prayashchita, atonement for that, was to finish himself. When they told Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu was pleased. And then he accepted his seva. Jyota Haridas would come to him in a spirit form and sing to him in the evening, and Mahaprabhu would accept that seva. But he was pleased to hear this. So it's not all paved with roses and strawberry bushes. Our process is very, very strong. Maybe now we can't handle that, but eventually, one day, we will have to accept this severe discipline. As Srila Govinda Maharaj said, the smack of Guru and the pulling of the ears and saying, stupid mind! Can I handle that now? Probably not. That's why we were not able to be in that kind of association. Otherwise, as our Gurudev said, you would say, oh, I don't like Nārāyaṇa Maharaj, and you will leave me and Bhakti forever. So I have to be so gentle with all of you. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is establishing this. This kind of cutting is necessary to take us away from our own selfish, self-centered, egotistical enjoyment and turn us, because that's all we've ever known, really. Our samsara in this material world. Our momentum is rushing with so much potency. We've been going in the direction of trying to fulfill and satisfy our own sensual desires. That's all we've ever known. And now, we're being given the other option. What's the other option? The other option is, you will never be satisfied by trying that way. You are made to love and serve Krishna. If you want to become fully satisfied, then you satisfy Krishna. Savai pungsang paro dharmo yato bhakti radhoksajay ahoitaki apratihata yayatma suprasidhati. Suprasidhati means to attain complete perfection or complete satisfaction for the soul. Only by engaging in unalloyed loving service, unmixed or pure loving devotion to Krishna, adhokshaja. Then we can say, yayatma suprasidhati, the soul will attain its complete happiness. So why am I speaking so heavy? Because I'm thinking about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, who was no nonsense. In fact, we heard once that someone came to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and they said, my son is really, really sick. He's not healthy. He's eating too many sweets. You should tell him not to eat sweets. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, come back in 3 days. So they came back in 3 days. And then he said to this kid, don't eat sweets. And they said, why didn't you just tell him 3 days ago? He said, at that time, I myself was eating sweets. So how could I tell him not to eat sweets? Right? Only one who is practicing can actually give proper instruction. This is told in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Apani achar. Your own practice, this is what you are able to preach. I cannot tell someone, take sannyas. I'm not a sannyasi. Right? I can't tell someone that. What one is practicing, they can preach that thing. If one is preaching something that they are not themselves practicing, then according to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and our Guru Varga, the potency will be very less or none at all. That's why I asked my Gurudev that question. You're telling us to tell everyone about Krishna, but where our hearts are full of anarthas, what benefit will others get? And he said some Shakti will be there because you are under guidance. So this was, for me, the essential thing. Because he's giving the order, then he can do something through that order. Those who don't perform Hari Bhajan are ignorant and murderers of their own souls. What a heavy statement. But he didn't make that statement up. Śrīmad Bhagavatam tells it in more than 2 places. Nirdehamadyam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sukarpam guru karnadaram mayanukulyena labhasvateritam puman bhavabdhim nataret sa atmaha. Also Sri Ishopanishad. Ye ke chatma hano janaha. For those of you who know that tune. Those who have received this human form of life and all of the knowledge and the shastras and the association of pure devotees and everything which is favorable for bhakti, who then don't utilize all of that for the attainment of perfection, are considered no better than butchers or those who are murderers of their own soul. This is what it says in there. Human bhavabdim nataret sa atma ha. Atma ha means those who kill themselves or their soul. Now we know that you cannot kill the soul, but what does that mean? It means re-entering into samsara, the cycle of repeated birth and death with no end in sight. From the Vaishnava perspective, Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravrishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda vedahename. One moment of separation from Krishna, and that means separation from service to Krishna, feels like millions of yugas. And we're choosing millions of yugas of separation from Krishna. This is inconceivable to them. This is like suicide of the soul. So he said, are ignorant and murderers of their own souls. Ooh. So if we don't follow pure bhakti, should we not be not inspired? Should we not inspire others to follow it? I recommend you read the article, which is a series of articles by our Srila Prabhupada, entitled Karunayavatirnakalo. It was published in the Harmonist magazines in English for the first time. So you won't find it in our Srila Prabhupada's database. So Sudevi is telling, even if someone is not there, they can always point someone in the direction.
Even if they're not inspired, even if they're not chanting, if they know it to be the truth, then they will be killers of people's souls as well as their own if they don't preach.
So if I'm not a doctor, and someone on the side of the road says, do you know where the doctor is? Sure, he's down the road. Two roads down, take a left. We can do this. There's no harm in that. That means sharing what we have received, we can share that. And it might benefit someone. That can be known as Vartma Pradarshika. A prostitute told Bilvamangal, if you had even 10% of the enthusiasm for Krishna that you have for meeting with me, you will attain perfection in no time. He was like, oh my God, you're right. That inspired him to run toward Krishna Bhakti. And in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, one of the opening statements is Bilvamangal Thakur's pranam to his Vartma Pradarshika Guru, that prostitute who told him, you should use your energy, your enthusiasm for Krishna. So it's there. It's one of the invocation verses of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we can give what we have received. What we have heard, we can share it, as Mahaprabhu ordered. Whoever you meet, wherever you go, tell them about Krishna. But we should not be in a way that we are misrepresenting Krishna and then making Krishna and the process of bhakti look bad. This is what Bhaktivedānta Thakur had to fight so strongly against. This is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada had to fight so strongly against. So many people, in the name of Krishna Bhakti, in the name of Mahaprabhu, in the name of Rupa Nuga Bhakti, were doing all kinds of simple activities. One of the things Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada did and said, upon the disappearance of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Gaurkishoras Babaji Maharaj. Srila Gaurkishoras Babaji Maharaj, in his will, basically, he couldn't write, but he spoke it, he said, after I leave, I want you to tie my body to a bullock cart and drag it through the streets of Navadvip so that my body mixes with the dust of Navadvip. So when he departed, they were actually going to do that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada stepped in front of him, his transcendental body, and said to everyone else who was planning on doing it, over my dead body, you are not going to do this to him. He's transcendental. What he spoke was a symptom of his humility, but it is not proper to do that to that transcendental person. Then they were arguing with him. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he held his ground very strongly. And he basically challenged all of them. Any one of you I can't remember which way it goes. Do you remember, Sudevi?
No.
Who has not had illicit connection within the last 24 hours, you can step forward and take him. No one could take the transcendental body
And even in their mind.
of Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was very strong, and he proved at that point that all of those persons, in the name of being disciples or followers of Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj, had no... They were engaging in all kinds of nefarious, sensual, sense-gratificatory activities. And still they were claiming that I can take the transcendental body of Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada established at that moment right there that he was the only authorized disciple of Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj. Let me just see here. Regarding this, many years before, it was 1999, when Srila Gurudev ordered us to travel and preach. After Kartik, we went to Keshivji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. He had made us into a team and said, you should travel the world and preach my mission. And so we went with some books and things like that, and Gurudev looked at us, what are you still doing here? We're studying so that we can travel and preach. And he said, no, what you know now, go and preach. What we have received, what we have heard, not just study and then share, but what has gone inside, what has somewhat processed and become ours. Then we share that. That means sharing what is inspirational. But one should be careful not to misrepresent. If we misrepresent, it can do great harm, damage. Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, the Param Gurudev of Sudevi of Pure Cow Seva, of Anup, he spoke that we should understand, we should behave in such a way that no negative thought or feeling comes to our Gurudev. If that happens, if our behavior is inappropriate, it will go to our Gurudev, it will go to our process of bhakti, it will go to Mahaprabhu, the criticism will go up the line, it will go to Krishna and the entire process of bhakti itself. Not only that, our own family members will also be criticized. Our father, mother, and our dynasty. So there was a lot of pressure, you can say, to behave properly. Not that in the name of Krishna or, I'm a Hare Krishna, let's go and do nonsense together. If you come together with devotees, don't share your nonsense with devotees. And try to give up that nonsense. But definitely if we're coming together with devotees, we should come together with devotees on the platform of Krishna consciousness, of Gaura consciousness, of Hare Krishna consciousness. Come together for kirtan, for prasadam, for discussing Krishna, not to engage other devotees in our nonsense activities, and definitely not to engage distant or non-devotees in nonsense activities in the name of bhakti or devotion or as a devotee. This brings disrepute to everyone, to our whole line. I remember this happened years ago. There was one boy and he wrote on Facebook, I don't know why Nārāyaṇa Maharaj's disciples are all high and mighty. I've been to so many parties where everyone is smoking and taking all kinds of intoxications and this and that. I don't know why they think they're better than everyone else. And I was like, whoa, that is a criticism that is going directly to our Gurudev, because our Gurudev's disciples were claiming to be his disciples and doing all kinds of nonsense activities, mixing with others. That criticism went public and went directly to our Gurudev. And then people will be like, yeah, see, we told you, Gaudiya Mat like that. And then they will brand it Sahajya because of my behavior. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was very strong that as devotees, we should try to represent this path of bhakti. Like I told on the day of Baraha, before Kumaras, when they went to the gates of Vaikuntha and they were offended by Jaya and Vijay. At that time, Srimad Nārāyaṇa came and said, whatever the servant does is the responsibility of the master. So we shouldn't think that whatever we do, it's okay because it doesn't affect our guru anyway. It does. That criticism will go up the line and it will go to Krishna and our entire process. So we should try to endeavor to be in such a way that responsible, that criticism won't go to my Gurudev. If we are representing our Gurudev and criticism comes because of that, criticism came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, criticism came to our Gurudev and our Param Gurudev and our Srila Prabhupada and to so many of our acharyas. But they were perfectly representing their Guru Varga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shastra, Krishna. I mean, you can read in our books and there's so many things people will criticize, but they're consistent with representing the teachings of their Gurudev as it is. And we should aspire to be like that. I remember reading somewhere from our Srila Prabhupada that the disciple should always try to act in such a way that no criticism or disrepute comes to their Guru. So by this we will be gradually able to develop Guru Nishtha. At every moment having this kind of awareness. Gurudev is here. No, set him next to you. How would you be? What would you be doing? How would you behave? What would you speak? I was questioned once, not too long ago. Would you say this in front of Gurudev? And it was by a senior disciple of our Gurudev. And at that point in time, I was thinking, actually, no, I wouldn't. But later on, I thought, yes, absolutely, I would, because I was representing the teachings of my Gurudev when it came to the conceptions of Jiva Tattva spoken by his Gurudev. And I thought, yes, actually, I would. And my Gurudev would be proud of me for it. I had to rethink it because I was thinking he's senior. Of course I wouldn't question him in front of... No, I would. I would say, why are you changing the teachings of our Gurudev and Param Gurudev? Gurudev would not be pleased by this at all. And so we can think very carefully, will my actions, will my words, will my thought processes, will my behavior be pleasing to my Gurudev or not? Will he accept it? Gurudev is standing next to me. How would I be? What would I do? If I place him there all the time, how is he following? What is he doing today? Today he's observing the Nishinga Chaturdashi. So then I should observe what he's observing when he's observing it, right? As he is and what will be pleasing to him, I should do. I should not do opposite to that. Then he would be displeased. And if Guru is displeased, then how can I make progress on the path of bhakti? That verse was posted yesterday by Amarendra Prabhu. Pratamam tu gurum pujam. First of all, you worship. It's Guru Puja is the word there. Worship Gurudev. But Gurudev explained worship doesn't mean with flowers and incense and money and this. Worship means offering your mind, your heart, your body, your soul, your everything at the lotus feet of Gurudev. This is real worship. Then Krishna will accept your service, otherwise not. Otherwise, everything will be rendered fruitless. I just need to check here, because I'm speaking very strong subject matters from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and our Guru Varga, so sometimes these create a little bit of tension internally. But I like the idea of asking us as individuals, and we can do this via this, because we're not all in a crowd where everyone's looking at us. We all know. We can't even see what kind of garbage is in our closet. You know, in English there's a term, skeletons in the closet. It means we're hiding stuff. We've got so many things, but it's so packed up with garbage, we only see the surface. Gurudev sees all of it. Gurudev can see all of that. And we see the... What? Time. Sri Guru sees all of that we're keeping hidden, that we even might have forgotten about. And I can tell you about that because I had a bunch of boxes underneath my bed with all sorts of screws and this and that and everything. I didn't know what was in them anymore. And Sudevi's like, no more boxes. Now I have to take out everything. Oh my God, so much stuff I don't need. So we've got so many things there. We need help to clean that out, to get rid of everything that is unartha, unfavorable for the attainment of our goal. And only by the mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas will that be possible. To be in their shelter, they will cut our anarthas. How? By giving us something positive. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jate. By their association, a higher taste will be awakened in our heart, by which all of this other stuff will be rendered insignificant. We've been away from California for so long. We have a small place that has got some old stuff from Sudevi's mother's previous apartment. It's a storage unit, and it's very small. And it was Sudevi's mother's stuff and a few things of ours, including original sets of Bhagavatam and things like that. But now that we've been away from it for so long, most of the stuff there we're thinking is completely useless. It's unnecessary. We're in Vrindavan. Huh? We want the Bhagavatams, but we don't need the old dryer, and we don't need the old shelves, and we don't need most of that stuff that's there. It's just stuff that's in storage that has to be paid for. So, okay, the time has gone on. I've spoken about a lot of things which are quite intense, but yet essential. So one thing though, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he's no ordinary person. He's a transcendental personality sent by Srimati Radhika. Gurudev said when he went to 26 2nd Avenue, he said, so I think. And when Sri Guru says I think, it's different than when we say I think, because they're seeing something very different than what we are. Srimati Radhika told her maidservant, Nayana Mani Manjari, you give these jewels to your maidservant, our Srila Prabhupada, and have your maidservant spread these jewels all over the world. And Gurudev was weeping and weeping and weeping when he was telling this. You can see it. He was so choked up he couldn't even speak for quite some time. This is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was giving to this world through so many hands. He was giving this Rupa Anuga Bhakti, purified from all of the misconceptions that were being presented in the name of Rupa Anuga Bhakti. Giving Krishna, giving love and affection for Krishna, giving appreciation and love and affection and a mood of surrender to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and especially Sri Harinam, Hare Krishna. So even though we see that he has given so much reason for us to be careful, it is essential for us to be careful to not make these things cheap. When you're walking in the bazaar, Loy Bazaar, and someone's like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so manjari, and that's this one, and that. You're like, whoa, wait a second. This is not bazaar. talk that makes the whole thing just light. This is our, like Sudevi wanted us to qualify the other day, it is our deepest aspiration, our greatest treasure, our greatest value, something that we hold the closest to our heart, dearer to us than this external life itself, actually, because it is related to the soul more than our own life's breath. Like Gurudev said, I am closer to you than the air you breathe. Then also these conceptions, these moods are closer to us than the air we breathe.
Are we going to do Banu?
Yes. So I just wanted to clarify that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada gave, Prakrita Rasa Shata Dushani, 100 heavy warnings against jumping above one's qualification, one's adhikar, where someone is pretending that I am this and pretending I'm that, or Rasagula Manjari and this thing and that thing. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was quite strong, telling how we should be very careful and take this process very seriously, step by step. Like our Srila Gurudev said, don't try to jump to the top of the tree all at once. You will fall and break your limbs, break your head. You should be like an inchworm. 1 foot down, very solid, then the next. 1 foot down, solid, next, like this. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he established emphatically this highest love and affection, and established it through the process of Gaura Bhajan, through the process of taking shelter of Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari. Then all of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna would become accessible to us. And how to take shelter of Sachinandan Gaurahari? Through the process of Harinam Sankirtan. So from here, we will end today, and we are going to give birthday blessings to Bhanumati. I don't know if she's here. Is she here? Was it her birthday yesterday?
Does it matter?
Or today? Well, because the timing is off. I don't know.
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
We missed her day, so I wanted to.
Okay.
Do you want to do it now?
Yes, we should do it now, and then a little Hare Krishna Kirtan.
Okay. So if you guys come over here so she could see everyone.
Raghava, Bhanumati.
Sudevi, back here. You're
Come
not
here.
hiding. Okay. Come on. Oh, okay. Okay.
You too.
I'm coming.
Okay. Oh, we can't see anybody. Let's
Over
see.
Here.
Can we see anybody?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Sudevi. And there's Sudevi.
Oh, we can't see them at all.
No, we need to move the camera out. There you go.
No, that's not good enough either.
No? Wait.
Let me just do it. I'll move it for now. Excuse me.
I'm moving this out. Okay.
Okay.
You got everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. This is for you, Bhanumati, the wife of Raghav Pandit. So,
Are you in it? Yeah, okay.
please, as you would when Srila Gurudev was present, Gurudev would have the devotees sit in front of all of the devotees on your knees, and he would have all the devotees surrounding that devotee with flowers in their hands. And so just close your eyes and accept it. All the devotees, have your flowers ready. Okay, we're going to offer some blessings to her. Mangalam bhavatu.
Mangalam bhavatu.
Guru Nishta bhavatu.
Guru Nishta bhavatu.
Krishna Bhaktir bhavatu.
Krishna Bhaktir bhavatu.
Radha Dasyam bhavatu.
Radha Dasyam bhavatu.
Bhanumati Devi Dasi ki jai. And Srila Gurudev would then add, may you be happy now. May you be happy into the future. May you be happy into perfection forever.
Dandavat Pranam, and may all auspiciousness always surround you. You're always so. She's the one who does the kitchen of love. I don't know if you saw that beautiful cookbook, but she does the kitchen of love, and she's just always excited and eager to hear about Guru and Vaishnavas and Krishna, always inspired and helping us to serve. So sending you so much affection and so much gratitude, Bhanumati. Happy, happy birthday. Always happy, happy, happy. Bye.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, Radhe.
Okay, so now we're going to have a quick kirtan and close up darshan of Thakurji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. In 1 minute. Oh, go to Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada.
Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Śrīla Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Śrī Satyavrata Muni, Jai Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Radha Vihari, Jai Radha Jai Mahārāja, Jai Hari Rama Sankirtan ki Jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Jai Gaura Premanande Hari.
His ankle bell's falling off.
Huh?
His ankle bell fell off.
His ankle bell didn't fall.
What was he
was
doing?
dancing. Today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and especially on this day to remember some of the very pertinent and necessary instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Also, we would like to express our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. And
don't forget the cow people.
Pure Cow Seva.
Pure cow seva. Radhe Radhe.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.
Radha Vira Bihari Ju ki
Jai.
jai. Sheshanandana Gaur Hari
Ki jai.
Chimeriamo domani. Ashtamanyana.